Looking throughout history, some of our greatest growth has arisen in direct relationship to bad things happening. Polio is a good example. Terrible, terrible thing, and it inspired us to expand our consciousness, expand our categories of thought, expand our awareness. So sometimes we require a hideous beast, some dragon to slay, that is the very catalyst to the arising from within us a response that says yes to life. We shall bring a great yes. Even through these sorrows, we shall joyfully participate. We shall embrace and engage all these multiple and various categories of thought and try to bring an order out of its chaos. This has to do with the hero. The hero has to go out and face its greatest fears. And this is the philosophy behind some people that say, if I don't feel an uncomfortable feeling about, this challenge I've set before myself, then it's really not a challenge, and I don't think I should be doing it. There are a lot of people out there that actually take it a bit too seriously, which I just look at. Sometimes we need to take ourselves a bit too seriously, for us to recognize that yes, we do have inherent existence on some realm of understanding. What that realm of understanding is, I don't really know, because when it comes to ontology and being, the study of being, what I've come to understand is I like what I read in Carl Jung about not that God is, but that God is becoming, as if it's a growth process, developing. Now, there's all kinds of arguments that arise from this. And as far as I'm concerned, arguments are just more of the phenomenal realm of suffering. That's what goes on. We got, matter and energy and mass and gravity and fusion, and stars are exploding all the time, and it's physics. It's just plain physics, and it's wonderful to embrace and enjoy and discover, but if you realize that it's not to be taken too seriously, or we've got chaos all over again. But like I just said, sometimes we need to take ourselves too seriously. By taking my own personal experience with the shift in my identity that occurred a few years ago, it's been a decade now, almost a decade. I needed to turn back on myself and look at myself and say, what is my behavior here? Why am I behaving the way I'm behaving? How did this come about? Why did this come about, and how did it come about? And then I had to go through the minutia and all of the tiny aspects of all these interrelatedness, all these different relationships, and I had to step back and look at all these behaviors, and I went through my life, and luckily I have a memory that's good enough to see the big events that occurred, that it developed my evaluations of others and myself, and I could step back and I could look and see how many events occurred that I just put into the back of my mind and said, oh, that was wrong and bad, I'm going to forgive them for that. And I put it back there, and I forgave them and forgot about it until this shift in consciousness occurred, and I realized, wait a second, there were messages all along that brought this to a head, And I also realized that, I wasn't completely aware of everything I was going through and the decisions I was making. I was young, so everything came to fulfill this coming to awareness. this mutual arising. Everything arose mutually for my own enlightenment, for my own self-awareness, to becoming self-aware. But with the feeling of self-awareness comes self-consciousness. And, you know, when we're made to feel self-conscious, say for instance somebody who doesn't like speaking in front of large crowds is being forced to go up on stage and speak to a large crowd, they become very self-conscious. You know, or when I put myself on this video, I became very self-conscious of myself. I'm looking at myself right here, you know. That can be an uncomfortable feeling. And I think it's the psychology, the way the brain is made, is that there are levels of development that should be adhered to, you know, step-by-step growth, slow step-by-step growth. Because if we become too self-aware too quickly, it can shatter our self-concept. And we may become uprooted, destabilized, disordered. So that's what I'm thinking about today. You know, all these things are a single cohesive vision in my mind. I carry this with me throughout my day. I just got a text from a friend. I'll probably be talking about this stuff with him, you know, if we're not busy doing some other things. But I'm not going to force it on him, you know, because that blind will to life has its own agenda, so to say, has its own impulse. And I don't want to deny it. I don't want to chain it. I don't want to stick it on a cross on a hill. You know, I don't want to martyr it. I just want to look at it with that awe and wonder of the mystery that is at the root of our ontology, the mystery of our being, which is becoming, and just divinely superfluous beauty pouring forth at all times, so to say.